using technology immediately when the technology is coming in the market. You even if you are small, you can become big.
Welcome and welcome back. Hi, Mario.
Hello, Florian. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Almost like always. I have a question for you. Because you traveled so many times to Italy. What is your best memory when you think about traveling to Italy?
I'm a fake Italian. I'm born with an Italian name, don't speak any Italian, and according to a DNA test, I'm 7% Italian. So I have a lot of great memories, but probably the most iconic trips we had was with two friends, Philip and Enrico, in Napoli, where we really went on to find the best pizza and ended up in the most weirdest places. But I think the answer is I don't have any bad memory.
Yeah,
traveling in Italy. If I could choose one country to go, it would always be Italy.
I mean, we talk about Italy and traveling to Italy today because we have Dina Ravera with us, and I will introduce her in a second. But she is the president of Destination Italia Group. It is a destination management company listed on the Italian stock exchange in Milano. The company is designed to offer travelers from all over the world an unforgettable travel experience in Italy. The company was founded in September 2016. It is a company specialized in travel tech, and we will dive into that. And it is famous for creating high-end tailor-made itineraries. Amongst the customers, I saw Whoopi Goldberg, so maybe we can also talk about that later. The company works with more than 10,000 partners, including luxury hotels, private transportation, guides, local experts, manufacturers, artisans, and thousands of travel advisors and tour operators in more than 100 countries. Their half-year result this year is 35 million turnover, 120 people working for Dina. Dina, welcome to our show From Doubt to Drive. It's good to have you here.
Thanks a lot. I'm very happy.
Dina, I made a research about your biography, and I found out that you're basically an electronic engineering graduate, and you have an MBA. You started in different sectors, McKinsey, several companies in fashion, healthcare, energy, tech, telecommunication. What brought you into the hospitality sector? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
After 20 years of telecommunication, I was a little bit bored of doing this, very fantastic 3G, 4G, 5G. But then honestly, I couldn't go on anymore with all these smartphone, always the same, even if it was improving. But anyway, after 20 years, it's becoming very boring.
Yeah.
And then I started to jump on startup talent show and making mentorship. And so I realized that, young people were winning when I was the mentor, winning big money. So I start to think about, probably my experience could also be, let's say, useful in tech kind of startup businesses. And then happened that in one of these talent, a big bank that is called Banca Intesa had founded some years before this company that is called Destination Italia, because they wanted to save all the small territory of Italy that are becoming without people, So the bank wanted to use tourism incoming for making sure that these small municipalities were not disappearing. And so, but they were not able to manage. And so they said, Dina, could you give a look, just a look, if you can help and doing a little bit better the strategy. And then I did it, and then the COVID arrived, so I bought the company in order not to have the company closing for the COVID. And then I listed the company during the COVID time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
But it must have been a huge change of thinking from tech and communication, telecommunication, mobile phones to food and travel and hotels. And did you had any doubts entering this new sector?
No, because I have a rule that I found that is a rule common to a person that you mentioned, that is a whoopee. That means I follow him. This all my life has been just to follow what opportunity were proposing me in front of me, not having fear, but just go. And I did this always, since, the big change of my life in which I make a big change was when I was 18. And then I was an accountant, like my sister. My parents has just 3 years of school, so they don't even speak Italian, but just dialect. And so I was starting to work. This was my destiny, and I was very proud of my accountant, diploma, certificated.
Yeah.
Then I read a newspaper that was saying that there was a university called Bocconi that in Italy is very famous, but I never heard about, that was giving for free to one person every large province in Italy that was sending the CV. So I sent the CV and in my province, they selected me. So I went there. There were all these people that want to my university. I never thought to my university, never think about. But then in the last day, in a big party, a lady comes to me and said, Dina, what are you doing now? I'm also from your small municipality, Cuneo. And so what are you doing? I'm an accountant. I was so proud. And she said, she looked in my eyes and said, no. You need to go on and you need to go university. Please go back to mom and said that you need to study. I was surprised. Then I went back. I asked to, friends, who was this person, Marisa Belisario? And they told me, Dina, she's the most famous telecommunication lady CEO. How you couldn't realize this? And I said, so alone I decided to make electronic engineering. Stop. No other reason.
No other reason. But, and I mean, you were picked as the only one person to go or to get this scholarship for
in my province. That means in Italy there are 101 province, and of my province, that is quite huge, is called the largest province in Italy.
Yeah.
I follow him. That means I've been selected.
Yeah.
Why? I have no idea.
And then you also became the first woman to chair the Italian telecommunication company Astel. That's also something new looking back then. How did you feel when you actually became chairwoman?
No, I feel very proud for two reasons. One, because, the lady that dedicated to me these 5 minutes, in 1985, deserve, to have a sign coming from my work. And becoming the first in the telecommunication, even her couldn't do it. She has not been, selected at her time. So for me, it was a way for sending to her a gift. On the other side, I was very happy because usually in this role, are selected chairman of companies, because usually a chairman in the big corporation, not in the small, but in the big, at least in Italy, they don't do operation really. Yeah. So usually you put a chairman because usually they are not in the real business. In this case, I was a chief operating officer, but all the competitors trust me. And so they said, no, we trust Dina. So we want her because we know that she will never do something in the interest of her own company and not of the industry. And so, and I was very happy for having the trust of the competition.
And did you feel any fear when you took over that job? Any doubts? Nothing? You were...
No, never. Because I always think that, it's my destiny. I need to give a value to the big gift of the life. And so usually when there is an opportunity coming, a road that become in front of me, I just see my duty of doing my best. Stop. So personally, I never thought to fear, but I always thought to the amazing opportunity to be useful. And so just do it.
Dina, I was not sure if I understood that correct, but did you say that when COVID hit Destination Italia, you bought the company and then you listed it? Is that correct?
Yeah, so probably this has been the most complex theoretically decision. That means I think that another person, if you take 1,000 person, I don't think that just a man could do this. But I felt the duty to do. The reason was that the owner of the company that was at the time was Last Minute. And the bank, they Last Minute couldn't invest in this moment. Also for Last Minute was complex. COVID is complex.
Sure.
And also for the bank was not easy to do. For a bank, is usually it's easier to give debt, not equity. And so, and in this moment, the company was losing money and there was no revenue because every frontier was closed. And I've never been an entrepreneur. I was a manager. And so, and then I spoke with some people. They said, no, Dina, don't do it, because this is too risky for your reputation. You could never make it. COVID, you don't know when it's going to finish and who is going to finance a company without revenues. But, I was looking to these 100 at the time, they were around 100%. And then I couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't say, okay, who cares? They will be without job. And in Italy, if you are without job, it's not easy, honestly. And so I couldn't say no. And so I just said yes. And then I did it. And then I selected as a partner a person that I just met 1 month before that was completely different from me because, my friends were all McKinsey people, used to manage a big brand with a lot of money. So I cannot involve this kind of guy. And this person that is Giulio, first of all, he was from Naples. Okay, and then for me, this was a plus because you mentioned Naples before. Naples people are very, if I'm smiling, they are more smiling than myself. I'm from the north. So I needed to have close to me someone that was taking life in an easy way. And Giulio was perfect. And on the other side, he was used to be entrepreneur of tech company, small tech company. And so I met him just for 2 hours, 1 month before, but I called him and said, Giulio, can you come with me that we have this project? And he said, oh, of course, what is the problem? So we started and we went to all the, let's say, equity founder. They said, no, we cannot put money. No, too risky. COVID, we don't know when it's going to finish. So we listed and then, so, and personally, even if you put, let's say, the logic, this was a very, a decision very, very, very complex. And I'm sure that nobody will have done. But I did for ethic reason. That means I cannot close my eyes and said, who cares? And so I just follow.
I think we have
destiny.
something in common. I think we have something in common because I also bought with 4 friends a restaurant company in the middle of COVID in June 2020. And I said in all the interviews, I said, the future will tell if it was crazy, stupid, or brave. So, but back to you, Dina. In that moment, when you heard all these voices saying you shouldn't do it, there's a German word which is called Schwellenangst. That's the fear of threshold and borders. There's not the exact translation. It's a very funny German word. And it's that fear we all have as an entrepreneur when there's a big decision in front of us. And we stay in front of the decision and we have that fear to take that step. How was this Schwellenangst? You said you were very much driven by helping and supporting these 100 employees. You called up Giulio, a guy who you wouldn't even call friend back then because you just met him for 2 hours. How did that feel? Was there a big kind of fear of threshold of borders? Were there big Schwellenangst to do that in the middle of COVID?
No, because personally, when I take decision, I think that we are lucky because we cannot compare. So honestly, you can never compare if you have done something different, could be better or worse. So I don't care how things will go because in any case, it's a decision has been taken by myself. I'm not being obliged. So, who cares what will be the results? In any case, you cannot compare.
I like that. Yeah. I want to come a little bit to this term Florian used, and I didn't really heard it before when he said a travel tech company. So can you just in a couple of words explain the business model? Where is the tech within that business model, and how does that go together with a highly emotional industry, the hospitality industry? Because you also had one quote we found. You said, as at Destination Italia Group, we know that there's nothing like Italian hospitality. So that's full of emotion, and we hear you. Yeah. So how does that go together with tech?
Yeah, so I studied the market and I have understood that in Italy there are a lot of foreign people coming, but they are mainly using the internet platform. So Booking, all these big Get Your Guide, all these big platform last minute, but usually they are buying just what the platform is suggesting. And in Italy today, there is a big, huge problem because everybody goes in the same places. That means I'm speaking particularly about the foreign people. Long haul people, so United States or South America or China, Japan, and so on. They always go in Rome, in Naples, in Florence, in Milan, in Venice, but this is crowded. So, it's not just in Italy, but there are many places in which there are too many tourists and mainly also in the same season. What is happening in Italy is that there are around 7,000 municipalities that nobody knows, that are just wonderful, that can be, let's say, an experience unique because there are you can make sports. There are a lot of arts, culture, cooking. So a lot of things. But nobody knows. And Bookie doesn't care. And all the other, because why? Why, they should care about these municipalities that are disappearing. So in order to make sure that these kind of places are known, you cannot compete with Booking because if you want to compete with them, you need to have hundreds of billions of money in marketing. So it's impossible. So it's impossible. So I'm not doing B2C. just because, competition is impossible. But I'm doing B2B, B2B2C. What does it mean? It means that I propose these, let's say, very specific and alternative destination to companies directly, or association, or other tour operators, in order to have them look into these places, or travel advisor, of high-end kind of tourism, in order for them to understand that Italy is not just these 5 places. Vupi, she's one of the clients. Vupi, honestly, knows Rome perhaps better than myself. Not better, because it's impossible. I always in Rome, but very well. So Vupi is not interested in Rome. She's interested in Sicily. She's interested in Sardinia. And this is true for me that want to come to Italy to see something different, but to be organized perfectly in their journey. They don't want to go to Booking and then book this, then you need something. Oh, is it disaster? You don't know what to do. They want something that is organized perfectly from the beginning to the end, that can cope with new ideas, new need, and is not done in places that they have already seen. So, but for doing this, you need to be very efficient. So without technology, it's impossible. I make an example. This year, we will have 150,000 person traveling with this kind of tailor-made travel. Without technology that is helping in matching the demand, the desire, and the offer, and booking at the same time all the pieces of this wonderful travel. Without technology, you cannot do. You can do, but small volumes. But if you want, and in my mind, I would like to at least to make a plus 20 times the dimension of today in not so long time, you need to have strong technology tool. Otherwise, you cannot scale. So that's why technology.
Are you in that thing? You're in between. It's really interesting. In between this strong hospitality, customized travel, and then so data driven. Do you feel yourself their role in your company more being the host or more being the techie? What's your role in that as a leader?
No, it's the host, but tech it's fundamental. You cannot do without, But I want also to use tech for let's say for making the travel even more amusing. I make an example. We are implementing a lot of AI, artificial intelligence, and also a lot of gamification. So in order to have, let's say, the clients also playing with AI. I make an example, for selecting the experience. Probably you want already before to see the one, for instance, that is taking care about the animals, the pastore. Oh, I don't know how to say in English, sorry, but let's say a person that is going out with their, animals, and you want to go as an experience with him, but you can meet him before with his avatar, that is speaking to you in the dialect of the places translated in English. So I think that can be also a way for making the experience more, let's say, more as a game, more as a something, a further dimension. So for me, tech is not just efficiency, but is also a way for playing with all these, let's say, nations. So that's why I adore tech.
Dina, the person who brought us together, who gave the reference to you is a common friend, Federico Grom, who was here in the show. And he gave us a quote back then when we interviewed him. He said, innovation never comes from data. It always comes from emotion. Where do you sit with that quote, as you seem to be more on the data and tech side? How do you see innovation within your industry, within your company coming from? How much is data-driven versus being pure gut feel or emotion?
But it's true that probably I'm a little bit more engineer than Federico. That's true. And it's true that I'm seeing technology as a way for having a new opportunities. So when the 3G arrived in Italy, we have been the first one to launch the 3G mobile in Italy. And nobody was understanding what was this video call, why this phone so big, the screen so nice, the small Motorola, Nokia, why, these things. So personally, I think that when a technology change is arriving and artificial intelligence is important, you need to take the opportunity. That means I'm not saying that I'm a cold person or, no, but I'm able to understand that if you are very fast in using technology, immediately when the technology is coming in the market, you even if you are small, you can become big. Again, against these amazing companies like Booking and all the other ones. So for me, the change in technology is just an opportunity, but then you need to do something that make the life of the other more emotional. And so that's why I agree with Federico that emotion should be the final objective. But changing technology is an amazing opportunity.
This podcast is about entrepreneurs who face doubts, who have drive, who have energy. And I did ask you already about some drives, and you said about some doubts, and you said you don't really had doubts doing this and that. But is there a situation where you had to struggle recently, where you said, okay, this was a tough decision I have to make? Do you remember anything that you can share with us, where you say, okay, I hit a wall and I didn't know what to do?
So I try to make two examples. That means one situation in which I act knowing that this was the right thing to do, but I felt let's say suffering was when I did it. I led the merger between Tree and Wind. Because the big difference as a manager, the big difference of having a company like Tree Italia in 2001, when at the beginning we were 50 persons, and then making a company of 3,000 persons, so building, this is just wonderful. When you need to merge two big corporations, so there was a Tree Italia on one side, a Wind on the other, you needed to select. Yeah, and so this was something that I did it because this was my duty. But honestly, every time that I went home, my energy was very down, very low, very low. So it was not, let's say, something that was giving me energy. This is a situation. Or in other situation, like, let's say, Destination Italia, sometimes there are situations in which I'm thinking and say, but why, Dina, a person like you that can go in a large corporation, making CEO, taking a lot of money, why are you working in a company that is in any case small? In which you cannot have, like before, 4 assistants, the driver, 2 drivers. Now I cannot do in this way. I should be very, let's say, careful in the expenses. So why you are doing this? And then to have also the rest of the people around you that is not so let's say the institution, financial institution or political institution, you are working for the country. They don't care. So why you do this and not taking the easy way? So sometimes happen. So usually when happen, I start to speak with people, not the one that I already know, but someone that I met by chance.
Yeah.
And then this happened a couple of weeks ago that I was thinking, in this way. And then I met two McKinsey colleagues that in 2012, the first, and 2014, the second, they started as entrepreneur. One on the gas trading, the other on the technology algorithm. They said to me, Dina, when you do something that nobody did before, and you are thinking something big, so big that people are not even able to look at, don't, be resilient, because they will never help you, first. Second, they will never understand you. And go on, because, these things that you have in mind, probably you are one of the first that had in mind. And don't think that things will happen in few years. It will take years. And the two of them are today both leading a billion business. Yeah. And so after having met this, so I come back and said, who cares if institutions are not supporting, even if you're doing something useful for the country, you just go.
Yeah, yeah. We learned in several interviews in this podcast that resilience, and you mentioned it, is a key part of being an entrepreneur. You have to be tough in certain situations. You have to be tough to yourself. You have to make tough decisions, explain it to your staff, let people go, etc., etc. COVID is also a situation that was mentioned quite often. But being resilient and getting back to drive, is there a special recipe you have to get back your energy? What did you do, for example, when this merger happened and you had to let people go? How did you overcome this feeling of guilt and sorrow and everything?
Yeah. So this has been in all my life the most difficult things, so compared to making engineering, making McKinsey, making whatever. So this has been the most complex because when you see people suffering, this is killing me. And so honestly, I would prefer to have other 5 companies to launch in the market instead of looking people crying. So honestly, this has been complex. One of the most complex things I did in my life. So in any case, there is also, that at least you will do in a way that is trying to support the people. Because in any case, when a big shareholder decided to fire 1,500 persons, they will stop. Then there is a different way of doing. And I saw that I can be the best person to do, at least without smiling, instead of having another one doing this and,
Right.
in a different way. So I felt that was a duty to stay there and to do at best what the shareholder was asking. Then I decided to change industry.
I have one last question to that topic, because we had Mats Lederhausen, and he actually said it's in the moment of pain and difficulty and challenge when you learn the most about yourself. Is that something that resonates with you, as in that specific situation, me as a person, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, learned the most?
Yes, because in any case, this was a complex situation, but then the complexity, there are plenty of complexity, is really from the complexity that you improve, because you see how you learn how to overcome complexity. And then you learn also how to teach the other to do the same. So a leader should be also the one helping all the people around him to overcome complexity that is arriving every day in every direction. So I think that in order to improve, you need to face a situation very complex and to work on you and to find a way and also the mechanism for reacting. Personally, I'm also a person that is studying the how do you say cervello? So I'm studying, let's say, what is within our head. Okay,
The brain.
The brain, yeah. And I'm studying brain, I'm studying the reaction, I'm studying why I'm reacting in this way automatically, why when I have time, then my reaction is certain, and I'm working in order to try to improve the mechanism of my brain reaction in order to be to maintain as much as possible my energy. I'm an engineer, probably, but it's not. I cannot stay and saying, I hope that he will react in the right way. No, I have studied, and I'm continue to study in order to make sure that he has the capability to react in front of something that can make you, to make you to have a fear, to make you to be sad. He should work in a way that the same things should be seen in a way that is not taking out energy, but you find a way to have more energy than before. And there are techniques. So, and I'm trying also to teach to the people that are close to me.
Florian and I will book a session with you. I want to come to this part back about the culture and shareholder value. As you now run also a public company, there's one icon in our industry, Danny Meyer, who is one of the most recognized restaurateurs in New York and also the founder of Shake Shack. And he said in our industry, when we start the business, it's always the guest in the focus and the stuff in the focus and the food in the focus. And once we become public, it turns completely around and then the focus is the shareholder, and at the end, it's the guest and the staff. So now you're more in the driving seat because you're running that company. How do you protect, on the one hand, the interests of your shareholders who give you the money and trust you and want you to grow, but also protect the values and the culture of the company? How do you do that? How you do it, especially in a difficult situation? Because if everybody is printing money right and left, then it's easy. But when it's tight, so how do you manage that conflict?
But, probably I am so used to be, and today I'm in the board of other two listed company. I've been in the past in a board of another one that in which I've been 9 years in energy. So, and I'm there to defend the market. So I'm been appointed to have this independent director role in order to defend the market, the shareholder of the market. So this is my job, doing this in other companies. So what I did in my company, in which, as you said, I cannot be independent. So I selected one of the best. There is another organism that is called in Italian Collegio Sindacale. So it's an organism that is checking on top of the board. There is an organism that is checking that everything should be fair. Is an additional government entity in a listed company. So I select the best chairman, very, very tight, very strict, that in order to have him having the responsibility to make sure that nobody can do something that is not perfect. That means I have seen in the listed company that are coming from entrepreneur that usually they select people that are very easy.
Loose.
Yeah. They don't want to have someone.
We want the easy way. Yeah.
Personally, I know that I'm a fair person. I know, but I decided to have on top very, very, very strong control in order to make sure that everything will be perfect. I can say that it's my job to be independent, and so I know that I can be. But having another entity very strong on this is a plus, and I decided to have it.
Dina, what are the next steps of Destination Italia from now on? Where are the challenges in general in the nearby future?
Times 20, Florian. Times 20, Dina promised. I already bought shares. Times 20.
My target is this, but how? First of all, is to continue to build my sales network around the world. That means we have opened an office in New York, and from this office we are hiring hundreds of we call ambassador, let's say agents, that are bringing our portfolio of unique experiences across the entire United States. We are opening in November in Shanghai. They will do the same for China, in Tokyo, and then in Mumbai, and then in Dubai, and then in Sao Paulo, and for having also South America. So means that I'm taking something that is traditional. So having agents kind of sales network is not tech. It's traditional. In the telco, I had it, but it's very useful for this kind of market that I am addressing. So this is one area in which I'm working a lot. On the other, technology, AI. So artificial intelligence will make everything's easier and also surprising. In order to have also some, as I said, some, let's say, surprising kind of experience also with tech for my client. And then continue to work in Italy in order to be close to the municipality, the public institution, the entrepreneur, the young people, and make sure that these places are stopping people leaving, but are coming back, deciding, advising them on how to build the storytelling of a destination, and building experiences, making new accommodation, and then promoting. So this is something. On the other side, I would like to add other destination in order to use synergies. That means I'm thinking to Turkey, to Croatia, to Austria, to Switzerland, to France, because in any case, the model can be as well applied to other, at the beginning, European countries, in order to leverage synergy and have a better margin.
I really like this. You mentioned it. You actually combine new technology like artificial intelligence with the old-fashioned network of sales representatives somewhere in other countries. That is, it actually shows that, especially in our industry, without having a good travel agent who tells you about the destination, it doesn't really work. It goes hand in hand. It's beauty in the story.
But that's let's say that's the only way for be competitive against OTA. Because if you think to use just technology to beat this big OTA is impossible. You need to have both using technology, but then having also the traditional touch. Yeah, both when you sell, you propose, but also when people come. So what is the big difference from my way of organizing a trip and the booking? Is that I make sure that whoever is speaking with you during your travel will be gentle, will listen to you, will support you. It's not an app. It's a human person that will be
touch.
close to you. Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. So I hand the last question now over to Mario. Usually I ask the last question, but today it's his turn. So Mario, go ahead.
Before I go to the last question, I want to go back to these different offices you open, because obviously you get these travelers from all around the world, and whatever happens out there in the world concerns you, and you seem to be very have a high level of empathy and emotions. And soon you will also have people all around the world working for you. What on the global stage, Dina, keeps you up at night? What really worries you nowadays?
It's honestly, awfully, I always had positive energy keeping me up. So I found always the way for making this happening. And so I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming with my people. I'm dreaming with institution that I meet. Can be minister, can be ambassador, can be chairman of region, can be whoever. I'm dreaming. And so I'm dreaming with my people, with the others, in trying to build a better world. So something that I'm saying with Whoopi Goldberg, I want to tell you how I met her.
Sure.
Yeah, so
I'm sure that's an interesting story. Tell us.
Yeah, honestly, again, something surprising. That means I was in New York presenting the new offices, and so I was in a big office of the bank, presenting. And there was a lot of people with the jacket, normal business woman and man. Then there was a person different there. And then I asked and I said, but who is this lady? Everybody seems to be nervous. And he said, it's Whoopi Goldberg, the one of Ghost, Sister Act, and so on. And I said, but why she's here? I said, I don't know, because, the ambassador of Italy in New York said, I had no idea why she's here, And so I made my speech. I was different so I was not in my comfort zone. Something was happening, and I was looking to this person in the eyes. She was looking to me, and I was a little bit confused, honestly, it's true. Then I finished. I went in the terrace, and she went to me and said, "Dina, what's the name of your mom?" Gemma. Ah, my mom, Emma, said me to come here to help you. What do you want me to do? I said, "Oh, I don't know. I have no idea." And she said, "Well, how? You should think about. So I give you some days, and then you let me know, and then I will help you." So, and then we become a friend, and then we are dreaming. We are dreaming too, and she wants to help us to save a lot of places of Italy that are, are really, if we don't do something, will be ruined, and so on. And so before you said how why you are probably you go to bed late, or for this reason, for dreaming and the dreaming of changing the world. Even
So nice.
Seems a little bit naive for children, but who cares?
I like that. Actually, I would have loved to end here because such a nice end, but we have this signature question because, Dina, this is a podcast from entrepreneurs and for entrepreneurs, and it's always to pass on knowledge, because what we figured out, and the main motivation for us was, when you have young entrepreneurs, they always look up to these successful heroes, and they always think they never fail, and everything is blue and everything goes well. and only they have the problems. And I think by allowing successful entrepreneurs like you and others to open up and share their knowledge and share their struggles and share their doubts, these young entrepreneurs kind of say, okay, it's not just me suffering, it's the normal journey of an entrepreneur. So the question I want to ask you, Yves, and I'm sure you're approached by a lot of entrepreneurs in crisis. So if somebody comes to you with very low energy, don't see anymore the future, the bright, just like stuck. And what's kind of the first aid kit of you to kind of get this person, this entrepreneur back on track? What's your first set of advice when somebody calls you up and say, like, I don't know what to do anymore? What's your help?
On one side, I will verify the business model. That means I'm used to, also as a consultant, McKinsey teach me to verify business model. And so if a business model is not right, can be improved, I make suggestion, I support, and I try to work on the fundamental. Because in any case, to be sure that things are at least organized, the vision at least is sustainable, the business model is sustainable in a technical way. I think that is important. So I will try to help him on this. Then it's just a question of I will remind him that that we are here. We are here just for enjoying. We're not here for suffering. So our life. So we are deciding every day how to make the day, let's say, nice. We can do whatever we want. We can do not working, or working very few, or making mom, making dad, or making a complex work, or singing. So we need to decide in our life what is making us happy. So I will tell him, this is making you happy? If yes, please enjoy. It's your choice, enjoy. If it's no, change. There is no... But what is important is to have clear that the only reason why we are getting in the morning, if up, is for having a nice day. Stop. No more than that.
Yeah. Well, again, another great guest, right?
Another great guest. I just say 3G, 4G, 5G. Always
the same.
It's so amazing when you explain. I mean, after this really incredible career in her sector, in technology or telecommunication, instead of like enjoying the peak, she seems to get bored and changing completely the field during Corona. Buying a travel company is quite brave.
That is brave, crazy, or stupid. We will see. But it seems to be very brave and smart, to be honest.
We're gonna see. What notes do you have, Laura?
I mean, she started with the following quote: "You need to give value to the gift of life." And it seems to me, even though she has, or maybe because of the engineering and technical background, she has a very philosophical approach towards life and business, what I sensed during this conversation. And she said, my duty is doing my best and to be useful. And that resonates quite well with me, I have to say. It was a nice start of the conversation.
Yeah, I think in general, she had on the one hand like this really, how should I say, like extremely positive outlook to say like always like, who cares? Yeah, like you cannot, some things are given, you need to deal with it. You get yourself in charge. And then also on this topic, when we talked about the Schwellenangst and going right or left, and she said, you will never know if it was the right decision or how the other decision would be because you choose one.
Yeah.
And then you follow through. And she's like, who cares? We cannot measure it anyway. You need to make a decision. You stick with it. You follow through. So you had on the one hand this highly emotional parts of her personality, but then a quite rational McKinsey approach follow through on ideas. Very, very interesting personality.
Absolutely. Yeah, she also said tech is fundamental. You can't do it without. And what they are doing in our industry, a lot of AI, gamification, very interesting topic. Also, maybe we talk about that in future podcast as well, but that they are doing it and at the same time having this real person approach and having key and sales representatives out in the world who are there to balance out tech and hospitality was also very interesting.
Yeah, especially on that nuance, because I was surprised that the customer service, so to say, we have people who will be gentle and who will be listening, and it will not be an app. It will not be a bot. It will be like a human. So on the one hand, they call themselves travel tech, and she was very proud of how they implement AI and everything.
Yeah.
But then when there is a touch point, it is human. But on this different business model, what I liked is when she had this conversation with her two friends, former McKinsey colleague, I think she said, then she said she always goes to other people in doubts and exchange.
Yeah.
And she said, maybe you're the first one. And sometimes us as an entrepreneurs, we're the first one to explore a new field. And maybe then that's the reason why it's so tough. And also then myself, if it would be so easy, everybody would do it. So sometimes we are the first on exploring that.
That's right.
I like that thought.
Following that, she said, you have to learn how to overcome complexity. And as a leader, you should help others to overcome complexity.
Yes, I like that a lot. What I also liked when she opened up about when you said to her what were the not so bright positive times, and she shared twice. It was always the situation when she had to let people go. And I think these people, protecting people, seem to be very strong because her main reason why she bought that company was to
ethical reasons
to save these 100 people, but ethical reasons and ethical entrepreneurs. But when she worked for this public company and she said she was in charge and they merged, and part of the merger is to bring home the savings, and bring home the savings means firing people. And then she said, like, it was given to me that job to kind of fire the people, and it was horrible, but at least I did it, and I did it in a human way, and I did it as human as possible.
I think
so. She ran with the task, but she made it better to digest.
This statement even became stronger in the following when she talked about positive energy and how she actually dreams with her team in trying to make a better world. And having that as a core value within her culture to create a better world out of what she's doing with her team is actually very exciting.
One of the nicest quotes, actually, to dream together with the team. I like that. Not to say like a dream, I have a dream.
No.
To dream together. Also, when she described her relationship with Whoopi, when she said, we dream together. Trying to build a better world, really, and safe. And we always ask, but we didn't have to ask her because her why is so strong. Why she's doing that to save parts of Italy. I mean, it's a strong statement, but she's right. I mean, there's Florence and Rome, and you don't need to save Rome and Napoli, Milano, but there are villages and regions where nobody goes, or where nobody would go. And to say we're doing that to save the people who have businesses there, that's a strong why.
Yeah,
definitely.
So let's sum up her advices for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Verify your business model. That's McKinsey, of course. No, look
the consultant came through.
Work on the fundamentals. Improve if needed. She wants to support in that way. Is the vision right? Is the organizational structure the right one? I mean, we always get, when we ask this to our guests, we mostly get, let's say, more the soft and comforting advices, but it's also a true advice to say, look into your structure, look at the hard facts if your business is actually doing right or not. So
100%. But then came the other part, and that's what I liked about her personality. She came with this hardcore fact-driven McKinsey approach, verify the business model. But then the next thing is like, if you don't like what you're doing, your task is to enjoy life, then you shouldn't suffer, then just change it.
Yeah. It's your decision. Find what makes you happy. If you're unhappy, change it.
If you're unhappy, change it. What a great interview. What a great end. So first of all, thank you, Federico, for this great recommendation. And thank you, Dina, for joining. And thanks, Florian. That was fun.
Yeah, grazie mille. Ciao, ciao.
Grazie. Ciao, ciao.
Wow. We hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we did. But sharing is not just caring. It is also empowering. So recommend this podcast to fellow entrepreneurs who might need a dose of inspiration. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss out on future episodes. Thank you for being part of the community from Doubt to Drive Entrepreneurs Only. Mario and Florian are already gearing up for the next episode. Until then, stay tuned, stay driven, and we'll be back next week.